Hello, my name is Suwela. I'm a biotechnologist by profession and owner of Suwela Wines. Basically microbiology, winemaking, fermentation, quality in wine, organoleptic evaluation in wine are basically my expertise. So yesterday I had a live video at Suwela Wines platform where I was discussing a brief about the opportunities that come or that one can find or one can take advantage of within the wine sector, which is the wine business in general. So I wanted to take a little bit of a U-turn with regards to my normal wine 101 kind of content that I've been sharing throughout ever since I started with these live videos, with the aim to share the knowledge and basically just share the knowledge around wine. So I thought it would be really exciting to have the basic understanding of wine, and also not that but realizing the different opportunities that lie within the wine sector. And I've also discussed briefly the different kinds or the different parts of the wine industry in terms of the value chain, so that we understand and we'll be able to discover and place ourselves within the sector or within the part within the sector that is really relevant to our skills, relevant to our interest, and relevant to our capability, strength, well, in that matter, if we can look at it that way. So yesterday I discussed the opportunities that one can get when working in the winery. So without having to drag it to yesterday's content, yesterday I discussed that there are opportunities within the wine sector and opportunities that we can get within a winery itself, depending on how big or small the winery is and what exactly are they involved in, because certain wineries might be might be outsourcing certain processes or certain processes within their line of work. So depending on how big the business is, they might be able to do more than one kind of business within one business. But then if not, for example, some wineries don't necessarily grow their own grapes, so they are focusing on making wine, and therefore they would buy grapes from different grape growers. And you can find some wineries that would have their own farms where they farm their own grapes and make their own wine. So hence I'm saying that it would depend on how big the business is. So I did explain that we can find employment or job opportunities or build careers within the winery itself, depending on how big it is or how small it is, and it will also depend what they are doing in their day-to-day work related stuff. And then there is also the vineyard part of it, where I just explained that some businesses in the wine industry are focusing on growing grapes and not necessarily making the wine. So they only grow grapes and then they would sell the wine. So that is one sector or one department in the wine business where people can establish their own careers, where people can build their own professions in this kind of sector. So I did this so that we can all have an understanding of how the industry is and where we can take advantage of opportunities. And it's always very nice when you find yourself interested in the wine industry, but then you look at yourself and you ask yourself what could interest you more within this sector. So knowledge is power. I believe knowledge is power. When I started, I was lucky to have studied what I studied and be exposed to the wine industry quite faster in my career. But when I was still back home, which is in Limpopo, I really did not have any knowledge whatsoever about the wine industry. I did not know about the possible job opportunities that one can have, because I was only aware of certain industries within job careers and all that, and the wine industry was one part that I didn't even know about. And when I eventually knew about the wine industry, the only thing I knew about was winemaking, in a sense that I only knew that perhaps I could study to be a winemaker, I did not know about other possible opportunities within the wine sector. So if we don't know about stuff, we are unable to make we are unable to make informed choices. And I believe that sometimes we waste a lot of time studying things we shouldn't have studied, working in industries that we shouldn't be working in, or literally just wasting time developing careers that we're really not interested in. And only when we find what we really want to do, what we're passionate about, or what we are interested about, it actually goes a long way. Because we've had those talks about the passions and the interests. So I've also, just to like go out of the way a bit, I've also been, I'll tell you a little bit of a story. I hope it's not going to be boring. So quickly though, so this is what happened. I always say that I'm a biotechnologist because that's what I define myself as. So I'm a biotechnologist that basically ventured or decided to venture into wine due to my that I majored in fermentation and microbiology, so that's where I got to get the interest and the knowledge about wine. But then I took it a bit up the notch, so I continued to study, pursue my wine studies with various organizations, and then I also continued to work in the wine industry. So one time, when I first got my first job in the wine industry, I looked at it and I was thinking to myself, I don't know if I'm going to make it in this industry. I looked around the winery and I thought, I don't even think this kind of business, they make a lot of money, because I thought one bottle costs like 40 rands, 20 rands. That's how much they're selling it for. And I thought, how do you make money out of selling a bottle of wine for 23 rands after you've processed the grapes, you've made the wine, you've bottled the wine, you've packaged the wine? It just didn't make sense to me. I thought perhaps this industry, it's tougher than it looks, And I thought to myself, because I wanted to have my own winery, that's why I was thinking in that way. So I was looking at it in a sense that, should I start my own winery? Like, how will it be? And I got so discouraged, I got so demotivated when I saw what was happening in the wine industry. And I thought, I don't stand a chance. I don't stand a chance, and also I don't have the energy to be, competing in an industry that is already excluded for Black people. If you look at how the industry is, and now it's an industry that is open for everyone, but previously it has been an industry that was open to white people and male in general. But there were reasons to that, because there were other reasons that we will not touch now, but the thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that, and then when I finished there, I thought to myself, you know what, let me rather maybe like study something else, leave this wine thing, like maybe it's just not meant to be, and maybe it's just harder than I have the ability to continue with. Because when you think about it, you're like, I don't think I want to spend the rest of my life trying to compete in this kind of an industry, trying to survive. So, and I thought, you know what, let me just leave it. I thought, but fortunately for me, I still remained in the wine industry, so I was still working in the wine industry. So, but in the meantime, I was making future plans on how to get out of the wine industry, right? Because I didn't see my dream coming true. I didn't see what I wanted to do being put into realization after considering the challenges that would come with being in the wine industry. So I actually went on and I went and registered a forensic science course with UNISA, and I did a whole full year. I completed all the first year modules, so that was going to be my second university qualification. So and guys, like, I was on it. I also enjoyed it. I think it was something I could potentially do, because I was looking at a way to get out of the lab and more money. And see growth in my line of work and my career. I did that. I registered for a year. I paid for a course for a year. I studied for a year, full course year. And one day I woke up and I realized, like, no, but who am I fooling? it's not gonna work. I know already what I want to do, and it's within wine. So if I'm gonna spend all my money, all my resources, all my energy, all my time investing in something that I'm not really sure about, just because I wanted money, in comparison to something that I was really sure that it's something I wanted, and I was in it already. I was like, there was a track record of my time in this particular industry. So, and I was beginning to be passionate and passionate, more passionate and passionate about this industry every day. And I was like, you know what? Goodbye, forensics. Let's just stick to wine. So that's what I wanted to like just tell you guys, that it's very important that we spend our money, our time, our resources, our energy into things that we are interested in. Sometimes it doesn't start as a passion. You know, passion is something that grows over time. Sometimes it starts with just, you know, a slight interest in something, like a slight interest in something, to say, hang on, I want to know how this happens. I want to know how this is done. I want to know what happens in this industry. Hi, Monique. You know, so yeah, basically that's why I wanted to say this. But anyways, back to opportunities that come within the wine industry. I did explain that we can get opportunities within the winery, the vineyard, and retail and distribution, which can also be importing or exporting, and also restaurants and hospitality. So those are the sections where you can grasp opportunities within the wine industry. So yeah, hope it makes sense. So today, so I said yesterday, I spoke about the opportunities that you get within the winery. So it will be, yeah, it's not necessary to talk about them today because I did speak about them. But anyways, if you want to ask me what are those opportunities, just send me a comment there, and then I'll forward you the video that I took yesterday, or I can just briefly text you the opportunities that are working within the winery space. So today I'm going to talk about opportunities that are within working in the vineyard, right? Because that's where things start. That's where growing grapes starts. That's where the business starts, right? So in the vineyard, people are running that kind of a business. So a certain organization or a certain business can depend on growing grapes and selling the grapes to other people who will focus on producing them. But within this kind or this line of business, obviously you will need some land. You will need some land. You will need some land, and obviously a little bit of knowledge and interest. So it's very important that we align ourselves in industries or in the type of work that meets our skills, man, or even interest. So when you want to work in the vineyard, you will obviously have to have a personal interest, or a personal a personal thing, man, that you enjoy working outside. You enjoy, you know, being part of agriculture. You enjoy, you know, you are that kind of a person. I'm not. I hate anything to do with farming. I grew up being forced to go to the farm every day of my life, and I hate it. So I'm not about to be farming. If I do end up one day owning a farm, it will be just for the fun of it. So in the vineyard, you can also, this is what you can do. So I wrote it down. Most importantly, it's viticulture. So I don't, you know, at this rate, it always gets me off. Viticulture. Viticulturist. I don't know how to say it. But anyways, these are scientists that basically solve issues around the vineyard. So basically, the person who owns the vineyard will be hiring or outsourcing a viticulturist who will be responsible to analyze the land to make sure that quality grapes are produced. And sometimes think about places like Limpopo. I see somebody just said something about Limpopo. So think about trying to start growing your own grapes in Limpopo, and in particular to make wine. So this will be not your normal table grapes, but the wines that are used to make the grapes that are used to make wine, because they're dependent. They're dependent so much on what we call a terroir. So it will be like the climate, a whole lot of things around where the vineyard would be located. So viticulturists They will then come in and they will do a study. They will study the soil, they will study everything about the location of that vineyard, where the vineyard is located, a whole lot of things about the soil, the sand. They will consider the climate, and they will assist the owner of that business in terms of advising them on what grapes to be grown, which grapes can grow best, and what to do in order to nurture the soil, to nurture the land, so that it can produce great crop production and quality grapes. So that's what you can do. So you basically need a formal education with regards to that, especially if you need to be you need other people to be hiring you to come into their vineyards. Obviously, it's a very competitive industry. You will need a formal education. Various organizations, but I know various institutions do offer such courses like Viticulture and University of Stellenbosch, and a lot of them, I think a lot of higher educations do offer viticulture courses. So it will be, I wrote down here, so I have viticulture, that's one of the courses you can do. I have horticulture, this is one of the courses you can do. I have botany, this is what you can do as well, and agricultural science and biology and chemistry. So that's all you need to do to make sure that you can develop your career within the viticulture space and become a well-known viticulturalist. I can't say it, no matter how hard I try. So yeah, it sucks. Anyways, and thank you so much, guys. I hope that you found this information very informative. So I believe that especially when it comes to the wine industry, like I always take it back to me, who I was when I had no knowledge whatsoever. If I had known about the opportunities and how the industry operates when I started, I think I would be very far by now. But thank God I am here today. But anyways, there are people out there who have no knowledge whatsoever, who have never been exposed, who have never even, been able to have this kind of information. And today we have the internet, we have the likes of me who can share that kind of information. And think about somebody who is out there who is currently doing matric or even in high school but have never ever heard of this kind of opportunity. So if you can share this video so that someone else can literally be informed about the career opportunities in the wine industry, because at the end of the day, that is how we're going to all remain active role players as young people in the wine industry. So thank you so much. I hope that you will further have a wonderful day. So I'm going to wrap this up with how you can quickly evaluate the quality of your wine. Yeah? So basically, this is what you can do when you're at home and enjoying your wine, or when you're at a restaurant. So first things first, it's important that you know that you're going to have to follow 3 steps. So that is to look, and that is to smell, and that is to taste. So this is just a brief quick summary. So basically, you want to look at your wine. So when you look at your wine, look at the color. So if you see any haziness or any cloudiness in the wine, that is an indication that the wine has gone bad. So that's why we look at the color of the wine. And also another thing is, if you see any sediments in the wine, it might not indicate that the wine is a bad quality, but it might just indicate that the wine has not been filtered, because some winemakers might decide not to filter their wine. It's just a style or technique to winemaking. And then you can also have a look at other things like crystals in the wine. So sometimes a wine might, it's due to cold instability, especially for white wines. So you might see stuff in the wine that look like broken glasses, but it's not broken glasses. It's just crystals that are due to tetrate instability in the wine. So, those are just a couple of things that make wine lose the quality, or the feel or the excitement of drinking wine. It's just not pretty, but you can't die from it. So if you're really stranded and you want to drink wine, you can continue to do so and drink it. And then next thing you want to do is you want to look at the color, because the color of the wine can tell you which grape you're about to drink. It's not really necessary, but this information is written on the bottle. You will know that you're about to drink a Cabernet Sauvignon or a Sangiovese or whatever. So what you want to do as well is to know different colors of different red wines for example, or different white wines. So and also the age of the wine can come, you can see by looking at the wine, because like for red wines, they lose their color as they age, and white wines remain brighter as they age. So those are a couple of fun things you can play around when doing a quality evaluation of your wine. So you also want to now have to sip your wine, so no, smell your wine. So before you smell your wine, just gently swirl the wine so that you know, other volatile compounds such as your sulfites that are in the wine, which is very important that we add sulfurs in the wine, and you know, the ethanol is not really a pleasant smell to get. So as soon as you swirl your wine, those volatile compounds will be exposed to the air, and you will remain with the pure fruit flavors and aromas of the wine. So now you can focus on the wine itself. So when you sniff your wine, just look out for off odors. Off odors will be anything that makes your wine smell bad, and there are a lot of them. So wet cupboard, wet dog, you know, medicinal kind of, you know, anything that smells funny. So yeah, it's very nice that you know which kind of smells could be associated with faulty wines. And you want to consider also the fruit flavors. If the wine is fruity, which fruit does it remind you of? If the wine is more like a, you know, of a buttery smell, could be that the wine has undergone a secondary fermentation, which is really awesome, especially for Chardonnays and MCCs and some red wines. And then you also want to consider if you are getting anything which is, you know, associated with oak. It can be, you know, due to the oak barrel that was used. It can be French or it can be American. So such flavors would be your, you know, smells like vanilla, chocolate, smokiness in the wine. Yeah, you know, those kind of smells like cigar. Yes, those kind of smells are associated with, you know, the oak and the wine. So, and then as soon as you're done doing that, you're more than welcome to taste your wine. And also tasting your wine, just consider the fruit in the wine and all the other aromas that you can get from the wine. And if you're getting the same flavors that you have nosed into your palate, and then that means it follows through, which is something you want for the wine. Also consider the sweetness. How sweet is the wine? If it is sweet, if it's dry or it's not dry. And also consider a couple of things like acidity. How do you feel about the acidity of the wine? How do you feel about the tannins, especially for red wine? How do you feel about the body? You know, do you feel like it's a heavy wine, or a medium bodied, or a light bodied? So how do you feel about yeah, like literally just ask yourself a couple of questions about that. And also it's important that the wine remains balanced. So all the components of the wine need to balance. And yeah, as soon as you're done answering those questions and playing around with those things and the terminology around wine, you can also ask yourself if you like the wine. If you like the wine. If you like the wine, thumbs up. If you don't like the wine, thumbs down. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Like, I'm gonna go now. So yeah, so today I'm hosting my first ever official wine class with the Suwela Wine Academy. So if you're also interested in learning more about wine, or having a one-on-one more intense discussion around wine, or class around wine, please follow at Suwela Wine Academy, or please send me a DM on this platform, and then yeah, we can get you started. Thank you so much. Bye.